Hello, I'm Terry Hartley with Rustic Barn Cards. I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator in the United States. Welcome. I'm glad you're here. Today is Quick Tip Monday, and my quick tip is all about the scraps of designer series paper. If you're like me, you have a bin or scraps of designer series paper that you haven't used. So I dug through my designer series paper bin, and I'm going to make some quick and easy cards. So we're going to make 2 cards together, and then I'm going to show you some other cards that I've made. And we're going to use the same layout, 3-panel layout, but yet all the cards will look a little different. And we'll be adding some different things to each of them. So if this is your first time here, please consider subscribing by clicking that subscribe button down below. And if you're returning, I really appreciate it. Let's turn the camera down and let's start stamping. Okay, so as I mentioned, I'm going to make some cards using designer series paper, and I'm going to use the layout using 3 panels. So let me bring in our trimmer. And I'm going to bring in the Snail Mail Designer Series paper, which is in our January to June mini catalog. Get a little more light on here. And then I am going to cut this at 1.5 inch wide. I'll do that one more time. Lay this aside. Then I'll turn, and 3.5 long. Place it right there at 3.5. And I want 3. So I want 3 at 1 inch by 3.5. So I'll need one more at 3.5. And then I'll still have some extra scrap of designer series paper to make some other cards with. Okay, let me lay this as my trimmer aside. So here I have my 3 panels, and I went ahead and gathered up my designer series paper for my bin, and I already cut 3 of each that I had for scraps at 1 inch by 3.5. So all of these I can make a card with. And then I've already have some extra cards that I've made. So I'm going to make a couple cards with you and then show you some cards that I've already made using this layout. So I have my card base, basic white, 5.5 by 8.5, folded in half. And bring in my bone folder. And then I have Blushing Bride, and this is 5 1/4 by 4. And I'm going to, I'll be layering this on top of our card base. So I'm going to bring in adhesive. Now I could have chosen some of the other colors that are in the snail mail for my layering card instead of the Blushing Bride. I like to use a liquid glue because it gives me a little bit of a chance to move that if I need to. Don't get it quite straight. But I could have used the Daffodil Delight or the Bermuda Bay for my layer if I had wanted to. But before I add those, let me go ahead and bring in Memento Black, and we are going to use, so for all these cards, the stamp set that I'm going to be using for my sentiments, I've chosen Happy Thoughts. And this is also in the January to June mini catalog. And it has a lot of sentiments that work. Happy birthday, thinking of you, thank you, congratulations. So lots of happy thought sentiments. So I'm going to use thinking of you for this particular card, and I already have that mounted on my block. I'm going to bring in a scrap of basic white. And we will go ahead and stamp. I'm going to turn that around because that was, let's see if we can get this straight. So we'll kind of turn this. There we go. Let me clean. And then I'm going to bring in, I punch, because I want these cards to be quick and easy. So I'm bringing in the Timeless Label punch, and this is in the annual catalog. And I love punches because they're just really quick and easy, just like that. So now I'm ready to add our layers on here. And I'm going to bring in the silicone craft sheet. And I went ahead and I have some dried glue on here. And I don't know if you can see or not, but basically it just peels right off. So that is what is so great about the silicone craft sheet. You can just peel the glue off and it doesn't stick on your grid paper or your table, wherever you're working from. So I'm going to go ahead and lay my 3 panels. And noticed these 2 are kind of lined up here. And so are these 2 are definitely lined up. And they may or may not be, since you're using some scraps. But I like to lay them here, and I start with the middle. So I want to kind of get this lined up. And then I'm going to turn the middle layer over and add a little adhesive. Now you could use the liquid like I am using. Or you could also use the Stamp & Seal Plus or the Stamp & Seal. And then we're going to add our next layer. And we'll line that up. Top and the bottom, make that even. About the same amount of space on the left and the right. And let's do the same for here. Okay, I added adhesive. And then we'll lay this one. I guess I really didn't need my silicone craft sheet for this project, since I wasn't using the Stamp & Seal. So I'll lay that aside. And then we're going to add our Thinking of You. But I'm going to bring in the Origami striped ribbon. This is actually Petal Pink. It's in our annual catalog. But I think it's close enough to the Blushing Bride that it's going to work. Let's see, we've got way more than I need. And I'm thinking maybe we will just kind of fold it over. And then just place this right here. Okay, let's bring in my snips. I'm going to go ahead and Snip it right there. And we'll fold that. And let's just put this up like here. I kind of just play with it a little bit. And we can always cut the ends and make it a little shorter. So I'm going to bring in my glue dots. And my take your pick tool. And I am just going to place one right on the bottom. So I'm going to use these glue dots to keep our ribbon in place. There we go. And we could even go ahead and you can snip and have these straight instead of folded over if you wanted to. And then I'm going to turn our sentiment over, bring in some dimensionals, and we'll pop this up. And I'm going to go ahead and add 2 more glue dots just to make sure that I have that down. I've already taken the backings of the dimensionals off, and we will put this right here. Thinking of you. So thinking of you. And again, we can go ahead and clip that if you wanted to, or just leave it like it is. Let's bring in some elegant faceted gems. Add a little bling. And I am just going to add one right there. So here's our first card. Let's go ahead and make another one. For our next card, I'm still using the Happy Thoughts for the sentiments. I'm going to use the Designer Series paper from the Pampered Pets. Although I think I'm going to use the side that has a little hearts in the fish. So I'm going to bring in a card base. Again, 5.5 by 8.5, folded in half. And we'll just crease that with our bone folder. And I'm bringing in a basic white for the inside of our card. And it is 5 1/4 by 4. So we'll go ahead and add that inside. And we could, if we wanted to, you could stamp an image if you have the Pampered Pets stamp set. So this is, these cards are a great way to use your scraps of Designer Series paper and also some of your stamp sets that you have. And then I'm going to bring in a layer of real red, cut it 5 1/4 by 4, and we're going to place that right on top of our card base. And then we'll add our 3 panels of Designer Series paper. And, okay. And then we'll just lay those down like we did on the first card. I'm not going to add any ribbon to this card. So I'll get these kind of placed where I want them. Trying to get them evenly placed the best we can. All right, now we'll take the middle and we'll add our adhesive. And place that right here. Make sure we have it centered. Okay, and then we'll do the next one. And line that up. Press it down. And now for this one. And get it lined up. And straight. All right. And then I went ahead and I used, from the Pampered Pets, I went ahead and stamped the cat in Memento Black. And then I went ahead and used light and dark crumb cake and ivory. And I didn't use petal pink. So I just used these three. Ivory and light and dark crumb cake. And then I went ahead and used a Happy Birthday from the Happy Thoughts. We're going to make this a birthday card. And this time I used a different punch. So I used this punch right here. This is the Everyday label, and it's in our annual catalog. And this is our annual catalog, and it is good until May 3rd. So if there's anything in here that you've been thinking and wanting, you might consider getting that, because we don't know at the moment how many of these things will carry over to the new annual catalog. So let's go ahead and pop this up with some dimensionals. So I've added 5 dimensionals, and I'm going to pop this up. I did, when I punched out Happy Birthday, I put a little bit more to the top, so I left a little more space down below the Happy Birthday, and that's because I'm going to put our cat right here. So let me turn him over, and we're going to add 1 dimensional up here, and then we're going to put some at the bottom of the cat on the back. And I think we can get 3. Okay, so 1 at the top and then 3 at the bottom. So I used the dies that went with the Pampered Pets to cut out our cat. And we're just going to place him right here. And since this Happy Birthday was popped up, I could have just not put a dimensional under his face and just went ahead and glued it down. Then it would have been a little bit more even. But I think it's going to be okay. Then I'm going to bring in our red rhinestone basic jewels. And the red rhinestones are in our annual catalog. That is good until May 3rd of 2021. And then our matte black dots are in our January to June 2021 mini catalog. These may be on back order. I'm not sure. So I'm trying to think. I kind of like, well, I like both of them. So you could use either one, and just whatever you have would be fine, and you wouldn't have to use any embellishments. And these are different sizes, so you can have small and large. I'm going to put 1 right here, and 1 over here, and 1 right there. So here is our Happy Birthday using the 3-panel layout. So let me show you some of the other cards that I made using my scrap of designer series paper and with the same 3-panel layout. If you haven't subscribed to my YouTube channel, please subscribe by clicking that button down below. And I upload videos on Monday and Thursday. And today is Quick Tip Monday. And the quick tip is how you can use your designer series paper to make some quick and easy cards. Let me show you the other cards that I've made. So the first card, and I have 7 cards to show you, plus the 2 that I made today equals 9. I'm using the same layout, the 3-panel. and just some scrap DSP. So the ribbon is the in color, Just Jade, although the card base shaded spruce. But I thought the ribbon was close enough that, and with the DSP, that it looked fine. And then I used one of the in color dots, Just Jade, on the card, and popped up Thinking of You. And for most of the cards, I'm using the sentiments from the Happy Thoughts, although there is one other stamp set that I'm using for a couple of cards, and I'll show you that when I come to it. But otherwise, I'm using Happy Thoughts, but you can use whatever stamp set that you have for sentiments, and use whatever embellishments you have. So I'm going to lay that aside and bring in a thank you card, because I need a thank you card. And I'm using Blackberry Bliss for my layer and Blackberry Bliss ribbon to make a bow. I stamped thank you, pop that up, and then inside I added a little heart. I have a person I'm going to send this to, one of my aunts who gave me a present, and so I thought I would take the little hearts, and these are from the January to June mini catalog on page 11, right here, the heart charms, and they are in the Love You Always suite, but you can buy the charms by themselves. So a package is $7.50, and you receive 20 little heart charms. So again, I just put that right inside. Okay, let's look at the next card. The next card is Thinking of You with All My Heart, and I use So Saffron, card base, Fleur de Flamingo, Thinking of You with All My Heart, and this particular sentiment does come from Peaceful Moments, so I did choose Thinking of You with All My Heart. And then I went ahead and used the Daffodil Delight ribbon to make a bow. And I thought it coordinated close enough that it looked just fine. And of course I put a layer of basic white inside. So let me show you the next card. The next card I used Thinking of You with All My Heart from that same sentiment or same stamp set, Peaceful Moments, and used the punch to cut it out. I used black card base, and I'm using Bumblebee for the layer, and I also used Bumblebee ribbon, and then I just wrapped that around, and then I just glued it on the back before I put the layer on the card base, and then I took another strip of ribbon and tied it in the front as a bow. This next card I did use a layering oval, the layering oval dies, and I stamped from the Happy Thoughts. Just wanted to send some happy thoughts your way. But the two punches I was using, the everyday label and the timeless label, it did not fit. The sentiment was too large. So I chose the oval. And this is the card. I used Early Espresso for the card base and Very Vanilla for my layer. And then added a scrap of DSP, and then I also added Early Espresso ribbon and stamped my sentiment in Early Espresso, and then die cut that out with the oval, and then just wrapped the ribbon underneath the label by using the glue dots, and then added a vanilla, added Very Vanilla layer inside. So just wanted to send some happy thoughts your way. You could add some other embellishments if you wanted to also. So along with the same line, the next card also has the same sentiment. Just wanted to send some happy thoughts your way, but I used Misty Moonlight because my scrap had Misty Moonlight colors in it. And then I used my Misty Moonlight ribbon. So I'm trying to use what I have in my stash to make these cards. And then I went ahead and popped up 3 of the end color dots on my card. And then I just wrapped the ribbon around on the middle before I attached the basic white layer to my Misty Moonlight card base. Okay, let me show you one more card. This card, I did not add an extra layer, so I just took the card base, Blushing Bride card base. I added my 3 panels of DSP, and I did not, like I said, I did not add a layer, so there's no layer on top of the card base. And then I brought in that snail mail twin combo pack, and I could have used the white twine, but I went ahead and used the, I think it's Blushing Bride. It's pink. I'm not sure which color it is, but I thought it looked well on here. So I just wrapped it around and tied a bow. Twine and I do not always agree. Sometimes twine's a little hard for me to use. I know a lot of people love twine. And so I was having trouble with the bow laying quite correctly. So I did put a little bit of glue under this bow to make it lay so it wouldn't kind of curl together. Maybe there's another way that you can do that. And then inside, so I did not stamp any sentiment on the outside. And then inside, I stamped the little things you do so well and so often make a big difference to so many people. And again, it's from the Happy Thoughts. So almost all of our cards are using one stamp set, Happy Thoughts. Although a few of them I did use Peaceful Moments. And I did add a couple of gems. I think these may be on back order, the pastel pearls, but I do have some, so I went ahead and added them. And basically, why I added them on the inside rather than on the outside, although I could still add some on the outside, is because I had a little bit of a smudge. So I got some ink on my hands, so I had the layer already adhered, and there's a little bit of a smudge down there. So I just decided to add a couple of gems, and nobody will know, right? Okay, so I wanted to show you a card without a layer, just directly on the card base, and what that would look like. So I'd like to know which card that you like the best, but I wanted to show you how all the cards, they're all made with the same design, but yet they look different, and they are quick and easy and ready to put in the mail, to sign your name. And then the 2 that we made together was Thinking of You and a Happy Birthday. So I made all these 9 cards quick and easy, and I have cards to send in the mail. So let me know which card is your favorite. If you would like a catalog, please reach out to me. Email me, RusticBarnCards@gmail.com, or you can contact me on my website, RusticBarnCards.com. Let me know if you need a catalog. I'd be glad to send you a complimentary catalog. And please consider subscribing by clicking that subscribe button. Thank you for watching my Quick Tip Monday. And have a great week.